My girlfriend said, "You need to impress my friends, don't embarrass me." Then handed me a $2,300 dinner bill. Like it was nothing. I said, "No problem." She was mortified when the waiter returned and announced, "The card was declined. Would anyone else like to pay?" All right, everyone, buckle up because this story is absolutely wild, and I'm still processing everything that went down. This happened about 4 months ago, but I needed time to let the dust settle before sharing. Quick background on me. I, 29 male, work as a financial analyst at an investment firm that's been doing really well lately. Been grinding for 6 years since college, finally making decent money. $140,000 base plus bonuses. Not rich by any means, but comfortable. Own a modest condo, drive a 2019 Subaru WRX, paid off. Got about $80,000 in savings, plus investments. Pretty much your typical finance guy, I guess. Been single for like 2 years after my last relationship imploded. Different story for another time. Wasn't really looking for anything serious, just dating around, having fun. Then I met Brittany at some rooftop bar in downtown. This girl was straight up gorgeous. 5 feet 7 inches, blonde, looked like she stepped out of Instagram. We hit it off immediately. She was funny, flirty, seemed genuinely interested in what I did for work. Most girls' eyes glaze over when I start talking about market analysis, but she was asking follow-up questions and everything. We started dating, and for the first few months, everything was perfect. Great chemistry, amazing connection. She seemed low maintenance compared to my ex. She had this job at some marketing agency, lived in a nice apartment, though she was always vague about rent, drove a leased BMW that was apparently a business expense. But looking back, there were red flags I ignored because I was thinking with my heart instead of my head. She never offered to pay for anything, ever. Not coffee, not lunch, nothing. Always had an excuse. Forgot my wallet. My card's being weird. I'll get you back. Never did, though. She was also obsessed with social media. Everything had to be photographed and posted. Our dates weren't about actually enjoying ourselves. They were about getting the perfect shot for her Instagram. She'd spend 20 minutes getting the lighting right for a picture of her avocado toast. Around month 6, she starts talking about her inner circle. Made it sound like some exclusive club. "My girls are so excited to meet you properly," she'd say. "These aren't just friends. They're my sisters. We've been through everything together." The way she built it up, you'd think I was meeting the board of directors. She kept emphasizing how important their approval was. "If my girls don't like you, this isn't going to work out," she said one night after we'd been hanging out. "They can see through fake guys immediately. But don't worry, babe, you're different." Should have been a massive red flag, but I was already invested. Plus my boy Lucas, more on him later, kept telling me she seemed high maintenance. "Dude, this chick is going to bleed you dry," he'd say. But I thought he was just being negative. Finally, she drops the bomb. "We're doing dinner at Meridian on Saturday. It's super exclusive, so dress nice. You need to make a perfect first impression." Meridian. I'd heard of it, one of those places where dinner for two easily runs $300 plus. But whatever. I wanted to meet her friends and show I was serious about the relationship. How much could dinner for 6 to 7 people cost? Famous last words. "Just remember," she said the night before, "these girls have high standards. They're used to dating successful men who know how to treat a lady. Don't embarrass me." That should have been the moment I walked away. But instead I went shopping for a new outfit and made dinner reservations, thinking I was about to level up in the relationship. Spoiler alert, I was about to get educated in the worst way possible. Saturday arrives and I'm suited up. New Hugo Boss shirt, nice slacks, dress shoes, the works. Even detailed my car because I knew they'd see me pull up. Wanted to make that good impression she kept hammering about. I get to Meridian and immediately feel underdressed despite spending $200 on the outfit. This place is next level. Valet parking, marble floors, the kind of spot where they give you 3 different forks for no reason. Brittany's already there at this huge corner table with 6 other women. The energy was hostile from the moment I walked over, like walking into enemy territory where they'd already decided to declare war. They all looked me up and down like I was livestock at auction. "Ladies, this is Liam. Liam, meet my girls," Brittany announces, like she's presenting me for judgment. The introductions were brutal. First, there's Victoria, some real estate agent who clearly thought she was hot stuff, gave me the weakest handshake and immediately looked at my watch. A nice citizen, not some $10,000 Rolex apparently. Then, Samantha, who worked in fashion PR, whatever that means. Ashley was some influencer with like 50,000 followers who made that her entire personality. Madison worked at a law firm as a paralegal, but acted like she was a partner. Then there's Chloe and Emma. Honestly, can't remember what they did, because they spent the whole time on their phones. Here's what immediately ticked me off. They had already started without me. 3 bottles of wine on the table, already half empty. Appetizer plates everywhere, food clearly already eaten. We got here a little early, Victoria says with this fake smile. Hope you don't mind we started the party without you. Mind? Lady, I just walked in and you're already 3 sheets to the wind on wine that probably costs $90 a bottle. But I smile and play nice, trying to be the cool boyfriend. The whole dinner felt like a job interview, designed to make me fail. Every question was loaded. So Liam, financial analysis? That's good money, right? Victoria asks. Yeah, I do all right. What kind of car do you drive? Subaru WRX. Oh, a Subaru, she repeats, like I said I rode the bus. Those are practical. Then Samantha goes, Where do you live? I own a condo in Midtown. Condo? Nice. How many bedrooms? 2 bedrooms, 1 office. Rent or own? Own. Some approving nods, but I could tell they were calculating square footage and property values in their heads. What's your workout routine? Ashley asks. I lift 4 times a week, play basketball on weekends. Ooh, send me your Instagram so I can see your gym pics, she says. When I tell her I don't really post gym stuff, she looks confused like I said I don't breathe oxygen. The whole time they're ordering like they're stocking up for the apocalypse. Wagyu steaks, lobster bisque, more wine, craft cocktails, desserts, coffee drinks that cost $18 each. Madison literally orders 3 appetizers for the table without asking anyone. Ashley gets 2 entrees because she can never decide, and then only eats like 3 bites of each. I'm doing mental math watching this unfold and starting to sweat. Each entree is $50 to $80. The wine is $100+ per bottle, and they've killed 4 of them already. The cocktails are $16 to $20 each, and everyone's had at least 3 rounds. We're easily looking at $2,000+ and climbing. But they keep making these comments that make me think this is all part of some test. Brittany's so lucky to find a guy who knows how to treat women right, Victoria says, while ordering her 3rd cocktail. Most guys these days are so cheap and selfish. Yeah, a real man takes care of his woman and her friends, Madison adds. Shows he has provider energy. Provider energy. What the heck does that even mean? But I nod along like it makes perfect sense because I'm trying to pass whatever test this is supposed to be. Looking back, they weren't being subtle at all. They were literally telling me what was about to happen. But I was too focused on making a good impression to see the trap being set. The conversation continued getting weirder. They kept making references to testing guys and how so many men fail the basic requirements. Victoria mentioned how her last boyfriend couldn't handle her lifestyle, and Madison talked about how cheap guys always reveal themselves eventually. I should have paid attention to how they kept exchanging looks whenever I answered their questions about my job or finances. Little smirks and nods like they were keeping score. But I was too busy trying to seem impressive to notice I was being evaluated like a piece of meat. Then Ashley starts talking about her friend, who dated a guy for 6 months before finding out he was financially inadequate. The way she told the story made it sound like discovering your boyfriend was secretly married or something equally horrific. I mean, what's the point of dating someone who can't provide? She says, looking right at me. Like, why waste everyone's time? Exactly, Brittany chimes in, squeezing my hand. I'm so glad I found someone who gets it. Gets what? I still had no idea what I was supposed to be getting. But the pressure was building, and I could feel them all watching my every reaction. That's when Victoria signals for another bottle of wine, the 4th one, and Madison orders dessert for the whole table without asking. Emma and Chloe start talking about some spa weekend they want to plan, discussing prices like money grows on trees. The whole vibe was getting more expensive by the minute, and I was starting to realize this wasn't just dinner with the girlfriends. This was something else entirely. Then the check comes, and everything changes. When that waiter brought over the check, it was like someone had choreographed the whole thing. Professional-looking dude, probably been doing this for years, places the black leather folder right in the center of the table. Then, complete silence. 7 pairs of eyes turn to look at me like I'm supposed to know exactly what to do. Nobody moves. Nobody reaches for purses. Nobody even pretends to look for their wallet, just staring at me with these expectant smiles. Brittany slides the check over to me. Babe, you got this right? That's it. Just assumes I'm paying for the entire table, like it's the most natural thing in the world. I open it up and my stomach drops. $2,347.82 for one dinner. I had to read it 3 times to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. This is everyone's bill? I ask, probably sounding like an idiot. They start giggling. Not friendly giggling, Mean girl giggling that makes your skin crawl. Obviously, Victoria says like I asked if water was wet. You didn't expect us to pay for our own food, did you? The way she said it made me feel like I'd suggested something perverted, like asking women to pay for their own meals was some kind of war crime. Is there a problem? Brittany asks, and her voice has this edge I'd never heard before. Sharp, dangerous. Everyone's watching me, waiting. I can feel the judgment radiating off them. This is definitely some kind of test, and failing it means public humiliation. My mind is racing. $2,300. That's more than my monthly mortgage payment. That's a vacation. That's insane for one dinner. No problem, I say, reaching for my wallet. They all visibly relax. Brittany squeezes my thigh under the table. I knew you were different from other guys, she whispers. I hand my credit card to the waiter along with the check. He nods and walks away. The girls immediately start gathering their purses and checking their phones, clearly ready to bounce the second this gets handled, already talking about hitting up some rooftop bar for more drinks. My heart is pounding. This is way more than I usually spend on anything without serious planning. But I'm committed now. Can't back out without looking like a complete loser in front of Brittany and her friends. 2 minutes later, the waiter comes back, clears his throat apologetically. I'm very sorry, sir, but your card has been declined. The table goes dead silent. Like someone had sucked all the sound out of the restaurant. What? Brittany's voice shoots up an octave. I ran it twice, sir. Would you like to try another card? I'm pulling out my phone, checking my bank app, completely confused. Shows $847 available in checking. That's way less than I thought I had. That's weird, I'm mumbling, more to myself. I was sure I had more. Then it hits me. Earlier this week, I'd moved most of my liquid cash into a high-yield savings account. Better interest rate, plus I was planning to make some investments. Just forgot to transfer money back before coming out tonight. Oh, dang. I moved most of my cash to savings this week. Better interest rate, you know? Bank's closed now, so I can't transfer it back. Brittany's face goes through about 5 different emotions in 3 seconds. Confusion, embarrassment, anger, then something I'd never seen before. Pure rage. You don't have $2,300? She asks slowly, like she's talking to a child. Not in checking, no. It's in savings, but I can't access it until Monday. Perfect. Silence. You could hear conversations from other tables, glasses clinking, normal restaurant sounds. But at our table, nothing. The other girls are staring at me like I just announced I had some contagious disease. The judgment in their eyes was suffocating. So who's going to pay? Madison finally asks, and her voice could cut glass. Look, let me figure this out, I start saying. I've got the $847 in checking. Maybe we can... The waiter, God bless him, tries to help. Perhaps the ladies would like to split the remainder. I can break it down however you'd like. That's when all heck broke loose. I don't have my purse, Ashley practically shouts. I only brought my phone and keys, from Emma. Brittany said this was handled, Chloe hisses. All eyes snap to Brittany, who's staring at me like I just murdered her entire family. Then something shifts in her face. The sweet girlfriend mask disappears, and something ugly crawls out from underneath. You did this on purpose, she says, voice low and venomous. Did what? You knew exactly what tonight was. You knew you were supposed to pay, and you chose to embarrass me in front of my friends. What the actual heck? Brittany, I made an honest mistake. Outside, right now. She stands up so fast her chair almost tips over. This was about to get very, very ugly. The parking lot conversation is when I met the real Brittany for the first time, and she was a complete nightmare. What the heck is wrong with you? She starts yelling before we're even fully outside. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? Humiliating for who? I tried to pay. You showed up to dinner with my closest friends with $800? $800? Do you know what kind of man does that? A man who made an honest mistake about which account his money was in? She actually laughs, but it sounds like nails on a chalkboard. Honest mistake. Right. You knew exactly what tonight was about. Enlighten me, because apparently I missed something. It was a test, Liam. A test to see if you're actually serious about me. If you can actually provide and take care of me. Since when is paying for your entire friend group a requirement for dating you? Since always. That's what real men do. They take care of their woman and show her friends respect by covering dinner. It's called being a provider. The mask was completely off now. This wasn't the sweet, bubbly girl I'd been dating for 6 months. This was someone else entirely. Someone cold, calculating, and absolutely ruthless. So this whole thing was planned? The expensive restaurant, bringing 6 friends, Ordering the most expensive stuff on the menu? Of course it was planned. How else am I supposed to know if you're worth my time? By getting to know me as a person, maybe? I already know you as a person. What I needed to know was if you're man enough to take care of me financially. And you're not. Through the restaurant window, I can see chaos inside. The waiter's talking to what looks like a manager. Her friends are frantically digging through purses, probably calling boyfriends and daddies to wire them emergency cash. This is unbelievable, I say, more to myself than to her. You actually planned this whole thing as some kind of financial test? Every woman does this, Liam. We have to. How else are we supposed to know if a guy is serious? Words are cheap. Actions matter. Actions like fraud? Fraud? She looks genuinely offended. It's called standards. I have value and I know my worth. If you can't handle that, then you're not the man for me. Your worth is $2,300 at one dinner? My worth is having a man who doesn't blink at taking care of me and my friends. My worth is being with someone who sees providing for me as an honor, not a burden. I'm starting to see how deep this goes. This isn't just about money. It's about control, manipulation, and a fundamentally twisted view of relationships. So what happens now? I ask. Now I have to go back in there and pay for dinner with money I was saving for my rent, because you decided to be a selfish jerk instead of manning up. And after that, we're done. I can't be with a man who isn't financially stable enough to handle a simple dinner. A $2,300 dinner is simple? For a real man? Yes. My ex never had a problem dropping $3,000 on dinner. But I guess you're not him. Ah, there it is. The comparison to the ex. The gold standard I was apparently supposed to live up to. You know what, Brittany? You're right. I'm not him. And thank God for that. Enjoy being alone with your precious savings account, she spits, then storms back inside. I sat in my car and watched through the window as they had what looked like a UN crisis meeting. Lots of frantic phone calls, pulling out multiple cards, the manager getting involved. Took them almost 45 minutes to sort it out. But something was bothering me beyond just the money and the manipulation. The way she'd said every woman does this, like it was some universal truth. The casual way she'd mentioned her ex dropping $3,000 on dinner. The coordinated way all her friends had acted. This felt bigger than just one crazy girlfriend. This felt like a system. That's when I decided to call my boy Lucas. Dude, you're not going to believe what just happened, I tell him. Lucas listened to the whole story, then started laughing so hard I thought he was going to choke. Bro, you just dodged the biggest bullet of your life. That's some next-level gold digger stuff right there. I can't believe I fell for it. Hey man, she's hot and she was playing the long game. Don't beat yourself up. But now you gotta decide, you gonna let this slide or are we gonna have some fun with this? Lucas works in cybersecurity. Used to be military intelligence before going private sector. Dude's got skills when it comes to information gathering. Let's just say that. He's also the funniest guy I know and has zero tolerance for people who try to scam his friends. What did you have in mind? I asked. Let me do some digging first. Something tells me this wasn't their first rodeo. Famous last words. Lucas was about to uncover something way bigger than I imagined. The text started immediately after I got home. Not from Brittany, she was done with me apparently, but from her girls. Hope you're proud of yourself, Victoria. Brittany deserves so much better than a broke loser. Madison, small penis energy, driving that economy car. Ashley, you're literally pathetic. Samantha. I screenshot everything and sent it to Lucas. His response, oh, it's on now. These ladies picked the wrong guy's friend to mess with. Next morning, Lucas calls me. Dude, you need to see this stuff. Can you come over? I drive to his place and he's got his laptop set up like he's running a command center. Multiple monitors, energy drinks everywhere. That crazy focused look he gets when he's in full hacker mode. So I did some digging on your ex and her crew, he starts. And holy cow, this goes deep. He shows me Brittany's social media accounts. Not just the stuff I'd seen, but the private stories, the TikToks, the group chats. Don't ask me how he got access. Lucas has his ways. Look at this, he says, pulling up her Instagram story from the day before our dinner. Tonight's the nighttime to see if he passes the test. Your provider test. Know your worth. Provider test. There it was in black and white. It gets worse, Lucas continues, pulling up TikTok. She's got a whole series about testing men's provider potential. Look at this stuff. Video after video of her explaining how to properly vet men. The group dinner test was apparently a cornerstone strategy. If he can't handle treating your friends to a nice meal, he can't handle taking care of you long term, she says to the camera. The comments were insane. Hundreds of women sharing their own testing stories and bragging about how much money they'd extracted from guys. But wait, there's more, Lucas says, pulling up what looks like a WhatsApp group chat. Check out Princess Squad goals. Messages dating back months. These girls had a whole system worked out. They'd scout guys on dating apps, share intel about their jobs and income, plan elaborate tests, then compare notes on how much they could extract before the guys caught on. And there was my name, with my photo, my job, my estimated salary, all shared before I'd even met them. Brittany, new target acquired financial analyst, probably makes $120,000 to $150,000. Drives a WRX, so he's got some money but not flashy. Could be a good long-term investment. Victoria, nice. When's the group test? Brittany, Saturday at Meridian. Going to order big and see how he handles it. If he passes, he's good for at least $10K over the next few months. After our dinner, test failed, had to pay my own way like a peasant. Next, Madison, drop his butt girl. Broke boys aren't worth your time. Ashley, WRX should have been the red flag. Real men drive BMWs or Audis minimum. I felt sick reading it, not because they rejected me, but because of how calculated and predatory it all was. Dude, there's a spreadsheet, Lucas says, pulling up another screen. Look at this. A Google sheet titled Investment Tracking, with columns for names, estimated income, amount extracted, and status. 37 guys over the past 18 months. Total haul, over $180,000 in dinners, gifts, loans, and vacations. Some entries made me want to throw up. David M., $8,500, dumped after Vegas trip. Kevin L., $12,000, still thinks we're getting back together. Ryan W., $6,800, ghosted after borrowing rent money. The scale was breathtaking. These weren't just gold diggers. They were running a sophisticated operation. Each girl had her specialty. Victoria handled the real estate investment scams. Madison did legal consultation fees. Ashley specialized in brand partnership schemes, where guys would pay for her to promote their businesses that never materialized. But the most disturbing part was the psychological manipulation documented in their chats. They had detailed profiles on each victim, their insecurities, their triggers, their emotional weak spots. They knew exactly which buttons to push to extract maximum cash before discarding them. Liam, look at your profile, Lucas says, pulling up another document. Liam M., financial analyst, 29, lives alone in condo, owns, drives WRX, paid off, estimated savings $60,000 to $80,000 based on lifestyle analysis. Psychological profile, people pleaser, seeks approval, probably insecure about not being alpha enough. Strategy, friend group approval test, then escalate to monthly lifestyle support if he passes. Estimated lifetime value, $25,000 to $30,000. They had me completely figured out. Every insecurity, every weakness, every button to push. It was like reading a psychological evaluation written by predators. This is straight up fraud, I tell Lucas. We need to report this. Oh, we're going to do way better than that, Lucas grins. See, these ladies made a critical error. They documented everything, and they forgot that you've got a very angry cybersecurity expert for a best friend. What are you thinking? I'm thinking it's time for some good old-fashioned consequences. You with me? Heck yes, I was with him. All right, Lucas cracks his knuckles. Let's burn this whole thing down. But first, he wanted to understand the full scope. Over the next 2 days, he tracked down 12 other victims through social media forensics. The stories were heartbreaking. Kevin, the guy who still thought he was getting back together with Brittany, had been sending her $800 a month for rent help for 8 months. David had blown his entire savings on what he thought was a romantic Vegas getaway, only to be dumped at the airport when they got back. Ryan had borrowed money from his parents to help Madison with a legal emergency that never existed. But the worst was a guy named Tom, who'd been dating Ashley for over a year. She'd convinced him to invest $15,000 in her influencer business and take out a loan for a car she claimed was for content creation. He was still making payments on a BMW she'd immediately turned around and given to her actual boyfriend. These women are sociopaths, Lucas said after documenting everything. They're not just taking money, they're destroying lives. That's when I knew we had to do more than just report them. We had to make sure this never happened to anyone else. What's the plan? I asked. Lucas smiled. Ever heard of the Streisand effect? Lucas spent the next week building what he called the nuclear option. I'd never seen him this focused, not even during his military days. This had become personal for him. These women think they can scam people with zero consequences, he said while typing furiously. Time to introduce them to the real world. First, he created a comprehensive website, golddiggeralert.com. Professional looking, well documented, impossible to ignore. He uploaded everything: the screenshots, the spreadsheet, the TikTok videos, testimonials from other victims we'd tracked down through the data. But here's the genius part. He didn't just expose them. He created detailed profiles for each girl, including their real names, where they worked, their social media handles, and a breakdown of their scam tactics. All public information, all perfectly legal, but devastating when compiled together. Victoria Chen, real estate agent at Premium Properties Group, known for elaborate dinner scams targeting men in tech and finance. Estimated fraud total, $47,000 over 12 months. Madison Taylor, paralegal at Johnson & Associates, specializes in emergency loan scams and fake relationship extensions. Multiple victims report loans never repaid. You get the idea. He did this for all 6 of them, plus included a scam alert section where new victims could submit their stories. But Lucas wasn't done. See, he'd discovered something interesting about their tax situations. Remember how they'd been bragging about writing off these dinners as business expenses? Well, that only works if you're actually running a legitimate business. Anonymous tip to the IRS with full documentation. Turns out they take tax fraud very seriously, especially when you hand them a spreadsheet of evidence. Then he found out Victoria had been claiming these scam dinners as legitimate business meals for her real estate clients. Reported her to her brokerage with evidence. Real estate agents can lose their licenses for fraud. Madison was claiming legal research dinners. Reported her to the State Bar Association. Even paralegals can get sanctioned for unethical behavior. Ashley, the influencer, had been writing everything off as content creation business expenses, while not reporting the cash she was getting from her victims. FTC got an anonymous tip about undisclosed sponsorships and tax evasion. "You're diabolical," I told Lucas, as he systematically destroyed their lives. "Haven't even started yet," he grinned. The coup de grace was the restaurant angle. Lucas had discovered they'd been running this scam at multiple high-end places around the city. But they'd gotten sloppy, sending food back for comps, creating scenes when guys couldn't pay, basically becoming known problems. He compiled a report for the Restaurant Association with all the evidence, including security footage he'd somehow obtained showing them clearly coordinating their scams. Within a week, all 6 were banned from every upscale restaurant in the city. But the beautiful thing was watching it all unfold in real time through their group chat, which Lucas was still monitoring. Victoria, "Who the heck reported me to my broker?" Madison, "The State Bar is investigating me for ethical violations." Ashley, "The IRS is auditing me and I owe like $8,000 in back taxes." Brittany, "It's that jerk Liam. He's trying to destroy us." Samantha, "How? He seemed like a total pushover." That's when Lucas made his move. He sent one message to their group chat from an anonymous number. "Ladies, you picked the wrong guy to scam. Enjoy explaining your fraud operation to the various government agencies currently investigating you." A friend. The panic was immediate and beautiful. Everyone delete everything. Burn the spreadsheet. Who the heck is this? We're so screwed. Too late. Lucas had already archived everything. Multiple backups, cloud storage, the works. But the best part? They started turning on each other. Victoria, "This is all Brittany's fault for picking such an obvious mark." Brittany, "I picked wrong? You're the one who kept the spreadsheet." Madison, "We're all going to prison because you idiots couldn't keep your mouths shut." Years of friendship destroyed by greed and paranoia. It was beautiful to watch. Within 72 hours, the website had gone viral. Lucas had strategically posted it on Reddit, Twitter, TikTok, and several dating forums. The response was incredible. Hundreds of men sharing their own stories of financial manipulation and gold digger scams. Local news picked it up, then national blogs, then mainstream media. The story had everything: attractive women, expensive restaurants, spreadsheets, social media evidence. It was content gold. Financial predators. How these women scammed men out of $180,000 using elaborate provider tests. That was the headline that ran on a major news site. The girls' employers started getting calls. Victoria's real estate company put out a statement distancing themselves from her alleged fraudulent activities. Madison's law firm quietly let her go during her performance review. Ashley lost every single brand partnership within 48 hours. But Lucas had one more trick up his sleeve. "Remember how they documented everything so carefully?" he asked me. "Well, some of those documents might be considered evidence of conspiracy to commit fraud, and some of those victims might want to file civil suits." He'd already connected 5 victims with a lawyer who specialized in financial fraud cases. Class action lawsuit filed within the week, seeking damages for emotional distress, financial fraud, and racketeering. RICO charges. These girls were about to find out that running an organized scam operation had serious legal consequences. The local DA's office opened an investigation. Turns out when you document your crimes in spreadsheets and group chats, it makes the prosecutor's job really easy. This is insane, I told Lucas, as we watched their world burn down in real time. This is justice, he corrected. They ruined dozens of lives for their own greed. Now they get to face consequences. 3 months later, and the fallout exceeded even Lucas's wildest expectations. The IRS hit all of them hard. Brittany owed $11,000 in back taxes plus penalties. Victoria lost her real estate license and owed $15,000. Madison got fired from the law firm and was facing professional sanctions. Ashley's influencer career imploded when brands found out about the fraud, lost all her sponsorships overnight. The civil lawsuit was moving forward with 17 plaintiffs seeking a combined $340,000 in damages. The criminal investigation had resulted in charges for conspiracy to commit fraud, with Brittany and Victoria facing potential jail time as the ringleaders. But the cherry on top came when they started reaching out to me directly. It started with Brittany, 3 separate phone calls that I let go to voicemail, then finally a text. Liam, we need to talk. Please call me back. I ignored it. Then Victoria reached out on LinkedIn. Hi Liam, I know we got off on the wrong foot, but I'd like to make things right. Could we meet for coffee? Still ignored them. Then Madison sent a long email explaining how sorry she was and how they'd all learned from their mistakes and wanted to make amends. The desperation was palpable. These women who had been so confident, so entitled, so sure of their power over men, were now begging for mercy from the broke loser they'd humiliated. Finally, Brittany showed up at my apartment building. I was coming home from the gym when I saw her sitting in the lobby, looking like absolute garbage. Hair a mess, wearing sweatpants, clearly hadn't slept in days. This was not the Instagram princess I'd dated. Liam, please, I need to talk to you, she says, jumping up when she sees me. Nothing to talk about, Brittany. We're done, remember? Look, I know I messed up. We all did. But this has gone too far. My life is completely destroyed. Good. Please, you have to help me. The IRS is demanding money I don't have. I lost my job because of that website. I had to move back in with my parents. I'm 26 years old living in my childhood bedroom. Sounds rough. Liam, please, I'll do anything. I'll pay you back every penny from that dinner. I'll delete all my social media. I'll be a better person. Just please make it stop. This was the moment I'd been waiting for. The entitled princess who thought men existed to finance her lifestyle was literally begging me for help. You want me to help you? I asked. Yes. Please, I'll do anything. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to contact every single guy you scammed and apologize. You're going to pay them back every cent you took. You're going to admit publicly that you ran an elaborate fraud operation. And you're going to warn other women not to follow your example. Her face went white. I can't do that. People will think I'm a fraud? A scammer? A gold-digging piece of garbage? Yeah, they will. Because that's exactly what you are. But I don't have the money to pay everyone back. The IRS took everything. Then get a job. A real job. Work nights and weekends. Figure it out. That's what adults do when they mess up their lives. She started crying, actual tears streaming down her face. You don't understand. I can't work some minimum wage job. I have an image to maintain. People expect you to be a decent human being, but you decided to be a parasite instead. Now you get to live with the consequences. Please, Liam, I'm begging you. Just make the website go away and we can pretend this never happened. No. What? I said no. You had your chance to be a decent person. You chose to be a predator instead. Now you get to explain to everyone why your life fell apart. She was full-on sobbing now. This isn't fair. All I did was expect men to pay for dinner. All you did was run an elaborate fraud operation targeting men for financial gain. But sure, let's call it dinner expectations. I hate you, she whispered. Good. Now get out of my building before I call security. She left, still crying. Haven't heard from her since. The other girls tried similar approaches over the next few weeks. Ashley offered to promote my business on her remaining social media. Victoria promised to hook me up with real estate deals. Madison said she had connections in the legal world that could help my career. All of them got the same response. Figure your own stuff out. But the story doesn't end there. See, the website had become something bigger than just revenge. It had become a resource for men who'd been financially abused and manipulated. Lucas kept it updated with new stories, warning signs, and resources for victims. We started getting messages from guys all over the country sharing their experiences. Apparently, this kind of systematic financial manipulation was way more common than either of us had realized. The website led to a documentary deal. Yes, seriously. Some producer saw the story and wanted to make a film about modern dating scams and financial abuse. Lucas and I ended up as executive producers. And let me tell you, the irony was beautiful. We made more money from exposing their scam than they ever made running it. Last I heard through the grapevine, Brittany was working at a call center and living with her parents. Victoria was doing administrative work at some strip mall insurance office. Madison was waitressing while trying to find another paralegal job. Ashley was working retail after losing all her brand partnerships.